What's up, tube? So I told you I would show you the epoxy, and I figured I'd get to it before I ran out because I'm almost done. Both slide out guides are in on the floor, and this is the stuff. It's West Systems G-Flex epoxy, and I think this is the 655. And they have one of these that is thickened, which this one is, and one that's more like a liquid. This one goes on like a bit of a paste, which is what I needed. So the other thing I'm going to be using this for is when I get the walls and ceiling done, my guides for the corners up in here are going to be the same HDPE plastic that I have down on the floor. Yeah, a little squeaky. But yeah, that's the floor done. The guides for the slide out done. I've had to make a couple of adjustments, a little notch there, a little notch there for a couple screws that were touching. But I'm going to use the same guides on the roof, so when it goes up and down, it'll actually ride on the aluminum trim on the outside. All right, so here we are. 2-part epoxy, resin and hardener, as stated. And all I did is just squeezed out an equal amount on a piece of cardboard, took a popsicle stick, mixed it up for a couple minutes, and then just spread it down on the piece of aluminum sheeting, and took a piece of that HDPE plastic that I've been using on the floor and scuffed the other side, and actually took a torch and heated it, and then cleaned both with the isopropyl alcohol and water mixed. And then just for the heck of it, I took some of the Teflon stuff I had laying around, which is almost the same as the HDPE, but slightly different characteristics. I'm going to see if that holds. And lastly, the other half of the HDPE plastic that I had, I'm going to try using some panel bond, and that's a 3M product. It's 3M panel bond, and this stuff is awesome for adhering like thin sheets of metal to each other, or thick pieces of metal adhering metal to each other. And basically what you have to have is a film between the two surfaces for it to bond, but they say this is as good as welding. And I don't have too many high hopes for it adhering the plastic to the aluminum, but we're gonna give it a shot. I've had good luck with it, using it on the rig to this point, so we're just kind of messing around with it. And the funky thing is, it is like a 5-to-1 or 6-to-1. You need a special gun to be able to get the tube. I think the small ones are harder. I also have an epoxy. This is the same place I get my panels, the aluminum panels. This is a 10-to-1. Please note the difference in the size. Epoxy. This one hardens unbelievably fast. Maybe it's 10, I don't know. This one hardens within 5 minutes. Like, you can't use it after 10 for sure, but I think it's 5 minutes this one sets up. This one takes a bit longer, maybe 45 minutes, an hour. And these guys take, God, 3 hours to kind of set up, and then 7 or 10, I believe. I'll have to read the instructions again. So don't quote me on that. But the point is, when you have different ratios of resin to hardener, it will change the working time. So, yep, that's where I'm at. I'm going to label these so I don't forget what's what. And we'll check in tomorrow and see how all the adhesion goes. So stay tuned. Well, it's been about 24 hours, and the 2-part adhesive, and the 2-part epoxy, the 655, seems to have done pretty well. Initial tests, just kind of romping on them a little bit. They are stuck. Those are both the 655, metal to plastic, plastic to plastic. And then the 3M body panel stuff seems to have done just as well. So I think I'm going to put them in the vise and start beating on them with a hammer and a screwdriver to see what it takes to pull them apart. I might let them cure a little bit longer, because I think they're a 24-hour cure, and I'm a couple hours shy of that. So nonetheless, it looks like both epoxies are going to work great, and I am super happy with that. That means I can start getting my roof done on the inside, walls done, and start throwing my HDPE guides for the sliding roof. Heck yes. Let's go. Well, they held really well until I took a hammer and a 5-way and actually got under the edge and popped them. Once this little edge got between the two surfaces, it broke the bond. But I was having a hell of a time getting the pieces to come apart otherwise. Tried pliers, tried the hammer. But I am curious, I don't know if this is a different kind of plastic or what, but the adhesive or the epoxy on the 655 didn't adhere to the plastic real well. I broke the bond on this plastic by heating it, and that's just as smooth as when it went down, and all the epoxy's on the aluminum, as you can see. And the two plastics kind of left some on both, and then the panel bond actually left a little bit on the plastic and left a residue on it where it actually, some of the adhesives on here and some of the adhesives on there. So I'm actually a little happier with the panel bond on how it reacted, but I think we're gonna have to do some more tests and see if we can make this work a little better, maybe drilling holes in the plastic to get it to hold better. I don't know. So we're gonna try that, see how it works. All right, back at it. I've reattached the 3M, and I've done something a little different, although I'm not having any issues with the epoxy adhering to the aluminum, because even on this side, the epoxy stuck completely to the aluminum. I scuffed it up a little bit with a DA or orbital sander. And now what I have done is actually taken the sander and scuffed this up, and I've punched a couple little holes, well, 6, in all of these to see if that helps kind of make things adhere a little bit better, because I'll have a little more surface area in the plastic. So I'm gonna try that with the 655 2-part epoxy. I've already done that with the 3M. I'm gonna do that with the metal, and I'm also gonna do it with a different type of plastic. The gray piece was a Teflon piece, which has different properties than this HDPE stuff. So we're gonna give that a shot, let them dry for 24 hours, and then beat on them again. See if they come apart. So let's see what happens. Well, round 2 ended up just about as good or bad as round 1. You can actually see the indentations of the epoxy into the holes, and the holes didn't seem to make a darn bit of difference on either of them, or any of them, even plastic to plastic. And admittedly, trying to basically glue plastic together when the properties of plastic are not meant to be glued together makes it a little challenging. So it does stick. I mean, this stuff actually stuck really well to the aluminum and to the plastic. It's only when I weaseled the edge of this guy in between the two and pried it up that they broke. So I think I'm gonna work on this a little bit, see if I can find something else in the world of crazy gluing stuff and see if I can get something to hold. I might try my VHB tape. I think that's the next thing. So once again, stay tuned, guys. All right. Round 3. I have cleaned everything with alcohol again, and I've actually used 3M Primer 94 per the VHB tape installation instructions that I remember from 2 years ago. And I heated the plastic up and the aluminum up, and I put a little extra heat on the plastic to hopefully get the tape to really adhere, and we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna stick these together, throw them in the vise, and squeeze them, and see if that doesn't take care of these guys not sticking together. Stay tuned. The tape, however, I took a steel sledge and beat the 5-way into it. And the only way I'm going to get it apart is cutting the tape with the 5-way. I cannot pry this apart. And I haven't tried this guy yet, but I suspect it's the same. So, because I know the tape sticks like a mofo to the aluminum. So I'll play with this a little bit more, but I think this is the winner. And these guys, I have a bunch of quarters and a bunch of 3/8 thick guides that are going to go on the roof on the inside corners to guide the roof up and down on the outside trim. And when I get to that point, I'll show you. But these are the pieces that are going to take this tape and have to be stuck to the aluminum on the inside of the rig. So that's why I'm testing all of this. Anyway, I think we have a winner. So yeah, heating the plastic and heating the aluminum and squeezing it tight with a vise seems to be the answer. And I am super happy with this. So I think that's the winner. I think that's the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And oh, by the way, it's only been about 5 minutes since I put these together. I was going to wait 24 hours to let the tape truly cure. But man, that stuff is stout. So anyway, tape it is.